after the fact. Doing a quick live. Well, maybe not so quick. About an hour. Looking to do. It's Sunday. My last live I did was Friday afternoon, which maybe wasn't the best timing. And so glad you could join me, even if it's after the fact. Been 30 days with this jacket. Check it out. Now it's getting hot. Full on Aloha mode. So, I don't know. It's really feels like summer is hitting, you know. And I've got this jacket. I've got the Cognac Battle Lassie, and I have the Rainbow Country Speedster because people had some interesting questions about it. Oh, and I need to get a measuring tape because part of what I want to do here is show people how I measure stuff. I've been getting so many questions about measuring. So, hey, how's it going? Along Cayenne says, wow. Hi, how are you? Yeah, so many questions I've been fielding about sizing and measurements. And so it's good. Hey, Mike, how you doing? It's up to you. So, man, I think if I might have to just do another video about measuring and really showing how I take measurements in a video, and then also posting it so that it will be at the top, and then people will see it when they have any questions about measuring. Oh yeah, thanks, Renners. I appreciate that. Renner says, "Hope I'm doing good, dude. Hope you're doing good, dude. Love seeing the Vanson 30-day journey." Yeah, it was a fun one. You know, this ain't the best lighting, I would say, like, you know, in a general sense, since it's these blue kind of toned overhead lights, but they do really show the shine and character of the jacket, which is pretty cool. Yeah. Renner says, no nipple chains today. That comment killed me. Yeah, the nipple chains comment, by the way, for folks that are not aware of what he's talking about. So, someone was talking about the Speedster, which is just the standard way that people do zips for these classic cafe racers, and they call them nipple chains. Bringing out a little spice into the day, I suppose. Mike says, measurements are wild for Japanese makers. I wear a 46-inch based on a 22 to 23-inch chest, but Japanese brands in size 46 fit little kids. So, Mike, you know, I think it depends on the brand. So much is brand dependent. And I have found, for example, in the two Rainbow Country jackets that I've tried on, the Speedster and the Hercules, my standard size is a 40, and those jackets fit like a trim 40. Now, that being said, kind of Flathead, for example, is known for particularly trim fit with really big shoulders. And then, you know, Real McCoy's, you know, really a lot of people like their jackets, and like the J100 Cafe Racer style is known for being very skinny and very long. And same used to be true, I believe, for their Buco J24 repro, but they did a readjustment of the sizing to make it a little bigger because of complaints about the sizing. Yeah, yeah, Mike. Flathead is guilty. Flathead is like their stance on sizing is if it says 40 is the chest measurement, then literally the across pit to pit might be 20 inches, exactly half, which is not how I think, at least not in the States. Most people don't do jackets like that, and it's an interesting way to choose to do it. Yeah, this light really does show off the shine on this jacket. It makes it look shinier than it is. The what I try to capture, and it's hard to tell if it really comes through in the reels that I'm doing, and sometimes I think it does better than others, and so much is dependent on lighting when trying to showcase something like this, which is just how the grain has changed with wear. It's really beautiful, really come along nicely, and really pleased with it. It was always comfortable. It's just become prettier, I guess you could say, or more handsome. And, you know, part of what I want to talk about too is compared to this Cognac, which is the same jacket in every way except for the leather, which is a different color, and it's steer hide instead of horse hide. And, I think it's interesting having spent a lot of time with this jacket right when I first got it, and then now with this jacket when I first got it. Um, one of the things that surprised me was the Battle Assy is heavier. I don't know if it's this particular first batch, or what. Um, Mike is asking, do you have the A2 to try on? I don't. I wish I did. In fact, I'm considering buying one at the full retail price from somebody that already has it, or if anybody out there knows someone that has a post 2023 model Rainbow Country A2, I'm interested in buying it so that I can give some good sizing advice. But from my understanding, it follows a pretty similar um, overall fit kind of to the Speedster, which is to say um, the Hercules is a little trimmer and a little longer compared to the Speedster. Speedster is a little wider and a little shorter. And so the A2 is also a little wider and a little shorter than the Hercules. Um, and with the nature of the A2 and the way that most people I think style it, I think really aiming for your normal size, like I'm a 40, I'd get a 40 in the A2, makes the most sense. Doesn't strike me as a layering jacket. It'd be like getting a a cafe racer as a layering jacket. I don't know. It just feels like it doesn't really fit. Doesn't really go there. Um, yeah, I don't know. Would like to try one on though. A lot is going to depend on who joins and what's going on, because if there's not a lot of interest in these, I had some requests to do them, um, and it's kind of interesting. I like doing it. I love doing questions and answers, and I've even done talking with a few folks about sizing who've been just curious about what to do and not sure. Had a few phone combos recently with folks about fitting the Hercules in particular, for folks who are nervous, and just had thoughts that were too much to put into a convo via email or DMing or whatever. Here's a question I get a lot about this jacket, which is, does the squeak ever go away? And I don't know, because I've had it for the amount of time since December, I suppose. It sounds about the same. I've worn it a fair bit. I will say things like this might pick up the squeak. I'm making it squeak on purpose kind of right now. But the truth of the matter is, whenever you're like in public, whether it's walking down the street or at a bar, getting food somewhere, in the store, pretty much everywhere you're going to be has a certain amount of background noise that this just disappears into for the most part. Hey, Cazamirez, how are you doing? Mike says, I don't know what it is, but you remind me of my sophomore math teacher. It's a compliment. He's cool, he says. So, great. Glad I remind you of a cool person you know from the past. A couple of people have mentioned that they think I look like a math professor or teacher. And I never was. I did do some. I was invited to tutor in statistics and finance, the mathematics of finance and those calculations when I was in college, but I did not tutor. So I never did do do that kind of work. Yeah, I haven't worn this jacket in a while. It's such a great jacket. Man, the C2 is so cool. The kind of interesting, and this kind of thing I noticed over time looking at it, little light striations almost across the arm, just from this panel. Pretty cool. Just an interesting leather. And waiting for the walnut to come over. It's been in production. Well, I was expecting it to take a month, and it's taken now. Oh, I don't know. It's significantly more than that. Maybe a month and a half. Maybe creeping on a month and 3/4 for the walnut Battle Assy C2s. And really interested in seeing how this process goes with all the tariff stuff and everything. Kind of stressful, but this is how it goes, I guess. All right, so any other questions about the C2 or just whatever? I'm curious. I'm curious for feedback from folks. So obviously I do a lot of leather jacket stuff, but like I've been kind of struggling with nailing my summer style. Obviously, I love Aloha shirts. I love things that are statement pieces. I think a lot of Aloha shirts can be that. Um, but like, maybe I need a vest or something. I'm not sure. I'm not sure what it is that I'm going to land on. And for folks who want to see the Speedster fit, so really there's been a lot of interest in both the Speedster and the Hercules, of course. You know, this is a 40 on me, and folks have asked about it. This is a fantastic fitting Cafe Racer jacket. There's no question about it. I've heard conflicting things where people say that you absolutely have to size up on Rainbow Country Hercules. It is the recommendation should be to size up. I don't know that that's true because it depends on what people are wanting for in a fit. I think it is often true with the Hercules that you may want to size up if you want to wear layers, because going true to size with it, there's essentially no room for layers. Um, Chilled is asking, what size zipper do these jackets come with? I want to say it looks like a number 5 to me. It's not a big zip. Um, they're California manufacturing branded zippers. And when you first get these jackets, if you do get a Rainbow Country jacket, and this is not something I've had a lot of experience with other Japanese makers getting them new in the way that I have had with Rainbow Country, you really do have to be careful with the zipper. You do. Well, Cheetah, I would have to say with Aero, the tiny zippers are more particularly a problem when you're wearing, for two reasons. One, um, they often, especially historically, were using really heavy cowhide. Chrome XL horsehide, and with that super heavy horsehide, it was not up to the task of holding that leather, and it was tough. Now, the other problem with the Aero zipper situation, with it being a number 5, this zip is going fine, and there's no resistance at any point. It's a broken in zipper. It's great. Some of the design with Aero is that they have, you see the welting here that goes over, that covers the zipper? With Aero, sometimes that welting, it squeezes the zipper. It'll apply pressure on the zipper and makes it hard to use, and you hit these bottlenecks where if you look at the bottom of a Hercules, and I could show this to you, I could go get my jacket and show it to you if you really wanted to, but the welting makes a little bottleneck where the bottom, there's like a stitch work along the bottom. It's an extra layer there. That's a problem spot with those Aero jackets with the zipper that you really do have to be careful with. That does not exist on this jacket and doesn't exist on the Hercules either. And I just think it's a part of the way that they do it that is fine. That being said, brand new on these Rainbow Country jackets, you do have to carefully work the zipper. You should never grab the zippers by the end and apply pressure. You should always grab it right at the base when you're moving it, and then you get there. Renner says, Rainbow Country is my dream jacket, hoping to get on your orders when they open up next year. Oh yeah, that's great. It's always good to have something to look forward to, I did start using, I added, from last year to this year, I added 2 additional payment options, which can help with this kind of situation. And of course, you use whatever's appropriate for you, but I do accept cards, and then I also accept PayPal. And PayPal does have like a pay in 4 or payment plan style options that can be set up depending on your relationship with PayPal and ability to pay. And also I set up Afterpay, which is explicitly just a buy now, pay later style platform, both of which work through my site, and you can use them to kind of plan out if it helps. I've had folks do like ask that kind of question, and I want to be sensitive to it. These are expensive things, and I get planning around an expensive purchase can be tough. Edvins shows a flag, but it's a little hard for me to see it on the small screen. James says, do I have any of the beige jackets? Beige. Are you talking about the cognac Battle Lassie, the lighter Battle Lassie C2? I do. I was just wearing it. I'll pop it back out. You can confirm for me if this is the one you're talking about. This? James? Is this what you're talking about? And if are you talking about Rainbow Country? And with Rainbow Country, for the most part, their jackets are available to me in either seal brown or black, and then some models in tobacco, like the the spider, I believe, might be a tobacco, but the pony boy in tobacco, I believe. I can't remember. I'd have to look at the list. And then there's a dark seal brown A2, which I'm listing, and there's also a tobacco seal brown, which I could A2, which I mean a tobacco brown A2, which I could probably carry. John Jason says, "What is your favorite jacket of the ones that I own?" That's kind of very difficult. My Hercules I really like. If I had to pick just two, it would probably be my Hercules and one of my C2s. It's very hard to pick. The jackets that I have kept have all been ones that I've worn a lot and decided I really liked. If I wanted like a perfect two jackets split, something like the Hercules and the C2 in some color combination, or an with maybe an A2 or something like that in the mix, kind of covers a lot of bases. It would be hard to pick, but that really kind of covers everything from the most casual up to the kind of the dressiest, in a way. So it covers your variety of needs. James says, "Thank you. I've been wanting a shade like this one. Wasn't sure if it was going to be a darker brown, but this is perfect." Yeah, James, the pictures, I'm in fluorescent lighting right now, so this isn't the best lighting in the world, but it's what the jacket looks like. You can look on the pictures I've posted on YouTube and Instagram are, appropriately capture the color, which in brighter sunlight does appear more orange. It gets those orange undertones out. But it's not like the jacket just looks like orange. It's a brownish orange. Is the belt removable? Yes, James, the belt is removable. That's standard on the C2. It goes like this. See? It's got these snaps on the back. You could unsnap, or you could just pull the belt out. There's the belt. It's made of the same leather. I'll just put it over here for now. Andy says, "Have you come across any good white leather jackets?" Yeah, I had one that got stolen from the front of my house by the Amazon delivery driver, of all people. Stole my jacket that was sitting in front of my house. I don't have any video proof of it, but my neighbor saw it happen. The jacket I in particular had, I thought was really cool. It is a white shot 141 or 641. I'm sorry, their Cafe Racer style, and I just thought it was so cool. I think white can be a really cool color for a leather jacket. I don't have one anymore, but I did have one. Also, really like and was kind of inspired by Langlet's, the Death's Head Cascade. I'm now forgetting a little bit because I haven't looked at it in a minute, but I'm pretty sure it's the Cascade is the name of the model, in white. And one of their like Tokyo rep, I'm forgetting his name, had one and used one, and it was well worn and dirty and beat up and looks so cool. It looked very, very cool. So I thought that was a really cool white leather jacket. Mike says, "The Herc back with the arch design is not my taste, but the jacket looks great on you and others." Yeah, that's how it goes, Not every jacket can be for everybody. Some people don't like the back on the Speedster, and they just want it to be plain. And I think if you want a plain back, plain Shinki horsehide Cafe Racer, get the J100 from RMC, the Rim McCoy. And that's what that is. And so, understandably, Rainbow Country has distinguished themselves by making this different design. It's still that Cafe Racer. And I like the back on this jacket. The action back is effective. And I think that the kind of half belt design of it kind of gives it a bit of a, I don't know, it's a little elegant, a little upgraded style. I like it. I really like it. All makers should do removable belts. Versatility is awesome. I agree. The versatility is nice. I like both though. I like like, you know, the Shot 618 that I have. It doesn't have a removable belt, and it's short enough that it doesn't really get in the way. It doesn't bother me, but I know some people really don't like it. Lucky says, I love the speedster you wore in your last live. I'm one of the guys who don't like the back but love the jacket otherwise. Oh, yeah. Yeah, that's how it goes. Mike says, is there elastic in the half belt? If so, does it wear out over time? There is no elastic. No. It is not elastic. There's no elastic, except for there might be, oftentimes there's elastic in these action backs, and I'm not sure if this one has it or not. I haven't seen in there. But really that band, and this is a similar thing that happens on the Hercules, the shape there of the back. What can happen on a big panel like this one, on a jacket that has any length to it, is that it can balloon out and lose its shape. Now this leather is a pretty stiff leather by nature that does break in, but it keeps its shape really well in those areas that are not being bent and used, like the arms. So features like this on a back help it to retain its shape and to create some, I think, visual interest on the back. But no, there is no elastic in it. James says, is the one on the more heavier side, is this one of the more heavier? Yeah, so this is, surprisingly, yes, it is one of the more heavy. My cowl jacket is about the same weight, maybe some portion of a pound heavier. But both are, these are the two heaviest that I currently own. Lucky says, the price is high though for $1,700 or $1,800. I thought my $600 shot was pricey, but geesh, believe me, I get it. Love the speeder, my new start saving. Yeah, you know, this is an interesting point. Well, $600 maybe if you got a used shot, but really no shot is full price is that level of low cost. Vanson does have some jackets at the 600 price range as a standard, which is pretty cool. I think jackets like the Comet, for example, the Maverick, their Type 3 style leather jean jacket. But it's just the price. Unfortunately, it's expensive. Ash says Aero jackets are doing a poor job for lack of Amazon distribution. Website is not secure enough. I can't speak to the security of their website, but you know, Aero explicitly is not trying to be distributed through anyone like Amazon. I know a lot of folks go Amazon first for shopping, but when we're talking niche products like essentially bespoke leather jackets, it seems like a hard place to sell. Especially considering the margins that folks work with, you have to give up a big percentage to Amazon in order to be on their marketplace. And I don't know if it's the place for this kind of product. Leather jackets are not like a high margin kind of business. There's a lot of effort and a lot of cost that goes into making the jackets. Stan says, recommendations for lightweight leather jacket options in the warmer weather. You know, air conditioning. Really, even a very lightweight leather jacket won't really breathe. The only ones that do breathe are perforated ones because they have holes in them. So it's really hard to make a recommendation there for an actual leather jacket. In standard, you can get a leather vest that'll let your arms breathe, but your body will be hot. I have some leather vests, and they are still kind of warm. It's a tough recommendation. I think, you know, I honestly do often wear leather jackets in these warmer months, but it's when I'm inside. It's an early in the morning, or it's if I'm out going to a restaurant and I want to, or a concert. I'm going to a concert, for example, in September. It's going to be hot, but I'm wearing a leather jacket, I'm sure. James says, sorry if you answered this before. Do I ride any bikes? James, I do not ride any motorcycles. No. It is a question I get sometimes. I get some folks that are kind of stolen valor about wearing a biker jacket. Even though, okay, so I've been wearing biker jackets a lot recently because I'm kind of showing these jackets that I'm selling, but like the Hercules is not a motorcycle jacket. The Speedster is obviously a classic style that is not meant for riding motorcycles. I don't know. I'm a leather jacket enthusiast, not a biker jacket enthusiast for that distinguishment. But I don't think you need to ride a bike in order to enjoy a good leather jacket of any style. Mike says, I picked up a used Steady in brown Canetto cowhide for $900, and the leather thickness texture is insane. Has a shawl collar. It's initially appealing, but it will grow on me. Yeah, I had a shawl collar Teddy jacket in Cuello. I'm not sure if I'm pronouncing that properly. Buffalo, kind of a lighter tan, a light tan. Beautiful jacket. I felt ultimately it was too trim for me, so I ended up selling it. Always felt luxurious on and really cool. Um, I think I've had 3 or 4 Teddy jackets and have gotten them all secondhand and never quite hit one that the sizing was right for me. Um, Lucky says, yeah, I'd steer clear of most Amazon jackets. Yes, yes. It's just a different realm. Um, it's a very different thing buying an Amazon jacket like the Milwaukee leather jacket that I reviewed, which is one of my earlier jackets that I looked at because people were asking for cheap options. And there's about a bajillion different made in Pakistan leather jackets that you can buy. I think, really thinking back on it, one thing that Milwaukee jacket did was it had probably the most honest pricing of any of those, which you go to sites that'll often say something like, oh, it's typically 300, but today it's on sale for 182 or $110 or whatever it is, and it's like there was never any. That's all scam. The price has always just been on sale. Those I don't understand it. And that Milwaukee jacket is always $130. I mean, Thursday is basically getting people to pay $350 for their. I mean, is it better than the $130 Milwaukee jacket? I don't know. My experience was not glowing of it. Lucky says, LOL, you can wear a biker jacket without riding a motorcycle. I ride a motorcycle. You can wear whatever you want. Hate it when people gatekeep. Yes, me too. Mike says, have you seen anyone else making jackets that are similar to the quality of leather that he uses? Shinki Aaku has such a strong following. When I saw it in person, it didn't strike me like Teddy did. Well, I think what Teddy is doing is he's doing stuff to the leather after he gets it that does make it unique. So it's really that treatment process that he does that changes the quality of the leathers. So I don't know where he gets his hides from. I'm pretty sure he has relationships with a lot of the Italian. I think someone on Fedora Lounge went there and they talked it over, and he goes to the Italian tanneries and maybe the ones in Greece, and he gets good hides from them, and then he treats them. And so that's how he ends up with this really unique, the interesting hand feel and textures and all that kind of stuff. James says, of the 30-day to break in the jacket, around which day did you feel like it was starting to break in? So James, this is an interesting question because it never really felt uncomfortable, which is also true with this jacket. Never felt uncomfortable. The main thing was, oh, hidden the camera. The main thing was the collar shape rubbing against my neck in the first few days, especially when I was wearing a t-shirt that had no collar to protect my neck from the friction. When the jacket first comes, this whole zone is basically flat and it's just not shaped to your neck. That was uncomfortable after a full day of wearing it. It felt tender up there because it kept rubbing. But after the first few days and me doing this number a fair bit, it got so much better and it wasn't really a problem. The other part was kind of the feeling here in the action back, getting that part to move without feeling feeling chunky at first a little bit, as the little leather in here really wore in quickly, as you'd imagine, and you can look in there and see, how grainy it got, how quick this whole zone here really breaks in quickly. So that was a quick part, but it also was a few days in that it took. And, feeling the back move, there's like a big panel has to do a little bit of breaking in. After maybe a week or so, it didn't feel like I was like shifting this big floppy thing on my back, and it was more broken in. So yeah, not that long. And it's kind of the nature of Chrome Excel, I believe, is really the deal here. And it's not super duper thick. Mike says, yes, he has a wash. Yes, talking about Teddy again, just a comment. Lucky says, just curious, has Thursday ever tried to sponsor my channel? No. I know they hit certain fashion YouTubers, and I think their opinions based on sponsorship. I agree with you, because folks that wear them, I can't speak too much to them. Look, guys, we're on the 30-minute mark, and I'm about to have to go. But yeah, I think a lot of people get paid by Thursday for their positive reviews. There's undoubted. You just look at all the sponsored content that's out there, like the ads that Thursday puts out. They have 1 million followers, so it's a lot of people doing it. And he says, what activities do you do when breaking in a jacket? Nothing really special. I just wear it when I'm doing my usual stuff. Yeah, walks, sweeping around the house, riding in the car, whatever I'm doing. Evan Express says, hey, what's up? What do you think of the Straight to Hell Commando jacket? I hear Straight to Hell is okay. I've never had it myself. I like the idea of the brand. They have a very clear vision. Mike says, thanks for being such a stylish MFer and sharing knowledge. You're welcome, Mike. Look, everyone, thank you all for joining. If you have questions, hit me up, comment on this thing, or DM me or email me or whatever you want to do. And I hope you have a great rest of your Sunday. All right, see y'all.